Good morning, everyone. Look like I haven't got any hair today. How are we all? This is a Geography Live, and we are going to be looking at um, quite quite an interesting question, which we're going to unpick as we go through the live and look at some really interesting sources. So, looking at some maps, trying to read these maps and do this well, and I'm going to get a little bit geography on you as well. Um, so Xenon. Oh wait, is it Maddie? It's Maddie, isn't it? Um, you don't have to watch the ads if you go onto the AimHi website. Hi Leo, good morning Leo. Let's say some hellos. Hello Leo. Good morning Angel. Good morning Maddie. Um, Lovely to see you all. So let's get going. I would like to. Oh, it's doing a little bit. Oh, it's Joe. That's it. Sorry, Joe. Hi. Angel said she's bought a book called Prisoners of Geography, and it had a really interesting chapter about how geography impacts the politics. Great, Angel, because I read that a very long time ago. I'm not trying to compete. I read it a while ago, and I don't remember the details of that chapter. So we are 100% going to need your intellect. So let's get going. I would like to go back to the start, and I'd like to ask you this question: how, if you were to put all your money into trying to make this happen, how would you become invisible from the government? How would you disappear? What methods would you use to do this? Tell me. Yeah, okay, Joe is Joe, not Maddie. I get it. What's no internet? Oh, no internet. Not use the internet. Sorry. I just asked you a question and I forgot that I asked you it. This is not going well already. Okay, so not use the internet. Great. Absolutely. Your internet, what's it called? There's a word for it and I can't remember. IP address would obviously give you away if you had a link to it. You'd maybe create your own firewall. That's a great idea, Joe. So you could sort of block any websites that tracked your location, all of these things. I love this kind of question because actually it's a bit like kind of survive. I don't know. I always play this one with survival question and like Bear Grylls question of like if you were trapped in a desert, what would you do? But this is even better. Okay, so new name and identity. You get an alias. Maybe you'd have multiple identities. Fake your own death. Yeah, this is great. Getting some tips. No, I'm joking. I don't want to disappear. I like my life. Fake your own death. Okay. Change your bank account. Yeah, you might not even have bank account. You just probably use cash. All of these things. There's so many things to consider though when it comes to having a job and being able to communicate with the people you know. You basically have to you'd have to be really careful about your friends and who you were close to because you can be invisible, but it wouldn't be that fun if you just couldn't speak to anyone. So you change your identity. Yeah, you change your great 1 million sloths. Hi Chloe, good morning. Let's say some more hellos. Welcome. This live today is about China and we're going to unpick this question, and by the end of the live you're going to be able to explain it. Why are millions of people in China invisible? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Miz, you are late. Naughty. I'm going to give you a demerit. You're going to get detention. So you'd need the money. You would need a lot of money, again, to get a new passport, all of these things. Now, think about this. Think about how complicated this would be. And apply that to this the rest of the live, because what we're going to be looking at is, I think it's going to really blow your mind. Okay, so how are the UK government and the Chinese government different? So we're going to get the UK on this side. Oh, that is a line, not a pen. UK government and the Chinese government. What are the key differences between these two countries? And if you want to use your own country as an example, you probably have a similar, right, democracy, good. The UK government recognises democracy. That is how we run our country. That is our political system. Excellent. Glad that people know you are allowed to vote when you're 18. Lucky you. Some places you cannot do that. That might give you a clue. For China. So just throw some knowledge at me. What do people know? You can't vote in China. Absolutely. Thank you, Joe. Cannot vote. You have absolutely no say over what politicians are in power, okay? Over leadership. Do you know what the name of the party is called? So you wouldn't be able to vote for the person leading it. Chinese government has more yeah, you're actually right. There's more communist of the Communist Party. No say that it's Communist Party. People are saying that there's bigger. Now there's definitely more representatives. Like we have local MPs, but more local politicians. Like the amount of people sort of running and holding the party line for the Communist Party, there's way more sort of bureaucracy in that sense. Bureaucracy means like decision making by the government. And so I think people are right. There's more, multiple. So democracy, obviously meaning that you can have more than one political party. So if a political party brought in a kind of authoritarian, draconian measures to try and control, say, I don't know, the spread of COVID, which is what has happened. If we thought that was a risk to our freedom and our liberty, in our democracy, we could vote out this political party, right? So if the citizens of our country are not happy, we can actually have an impact on this. But if something happens in China that you don't like as a citizen, you have absolutely no control over it. You can't voice your opinion about it. Okay, let's just have a quick look. Any more House of Commons, House of Lords? So we have the House of Commons and the House of Lords checking each other. I'm going to be told off by someone, by a friend, he's probably not watching. There's a name for this, and I don't know what it's called, but this is really important because we have the judicial system. So we have the courts, we have the House of Lords, and we have the House of Commons, and they all are meant to keep each other in check. I think I might be getting that confused with the US. Okay. Chinese. Hello, Happy the Puffle. A fantastic screen name. Welcome. You are not late. You've joined just the right time. So this is really important, because what this means is that people in China have very few political freedoms. They have to go along with what the party says. You cannot speak out against the government. You will get put in prison. You'll be considered a political dissident. There's an amazing artist called Ai Weiwei. You should look him up. He is an artist, and he has spent his life trying to raise awareness about the Chinese government and how they run the country and how they create this surveillance state and what it does to people's psychology. He was actually kept in solitary confinement for I think up to 6 months. I can't quite remember the exhibition I went to. I was very lucky to see an art exhibition about it at the Royal Academy. Yeah, they have the Great Firewall of China, which people mentioned at the start. So they have literally the monitoring, surveillance of internet activity. So it's really hard. That's why the dark web is so important for people in China to kind of organize around trying to sort of help each other outside of this surveillance system. Okay, I think we're good. So let's have a little I'm gonna try this a little odd one out because I'm trying to make this as interactive for you as possible. I want you to tell me how it goes at the end. So wait 5 seconds and I want you to tell me which one of these statements is the odd one out. Okay, I'm going to count to 5 and then you can write down A, B or C. Okay. Oh, this is not as easy as I thought it was. No offense, like I'm not trying to catch people out. But maybe I've made this. Maybe it's a bit too much to read. By the way, Leo, Ai Weiwei is an artist and still is an artist. You should look up his documentary called Human Flow as well. I'm just going to keep promoting Ai Weiwei because I think he's great. I think he's a good guy. Okay, lots of people putting A. So A is not the odd one out. It's a trick question. I've made it too hard. That's so unintentional. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is human. It's called Human Flow, Leo. I just want you to go and watch it because it's a really beautiful documentary about the migrant crisis. And he went and interviewed people, and it was just very beautiful. Okay, A is correct. A is true. There are Angel's finally got it after process of elimination. We got it. China has a population of 1.39 billion people. Okay, huge. If you think about the total population of the planet, which is just over 7 billion, that is, a fifth of the whole of the world's population live in China. So this is so many people that are affected by this. This country we need to know more about is my point by putting this fact on. C is true. It is an authoritarian political system. It's run by a one-party socialist republic. Socialist, you may have got confused, thinking this might be different to communist. Socialism is on the way to communism, and the way that they run the system is the name they give to it. We talked about it a bit when we looked at should everyone be paid the same. If you want to go and watch that live again. A little bit about the politics of that. Okay, B. So B is not true because, has anyone heard of this social credit system? It definitely doesn't help people. The reason why it's not true is because it does not help people. What's wrong with the pledge? Someone's pledging. I pledge allegiance. Sorry, Chloe, if I felt like you felt like I tricked you. Okay, right. This is absolutely crazy, and I'm so glad we're talking about it because I actually didn't believe that it existed when I first heard about it. The social credit system is a scoring system that gives people in China a score based on how good they are, okay? How much of a good person they are. And the Chinese government uses this word trustworthy. Could you trust this person as a citizen of this country, okay? What do you think gets you a negative score? Yeah, it's unreal. Angel, I'm so glad that you're as shocked as me because I was so shocked. Okay, what could give you negative points? What do you think you could do to get a negative score? Yeah, it's what happened in an episode of Black Mirror. I know. That's why when I heard about it, I was like, surely this doesn't exist because that would be crazy. I'm going to go back because I need a bit more space. Okay, what do you think you have to do? Be against the government. So if you say anything, if you're protesting, you say anything negative against the government, you get a negative score. Absolutely, Joe. Okay. So protesting, what else? Think of the littlest things that people might get annoyed at. Yeah, cross the road with a red light. Yes. Cross. So that's called jaywalking. Jaywalking when you're not supposed to go over a crossing can get you a negative score. Oh, right, sorry. I thought you said you were Joe. Sorry. Littering, yeah, littering gets you negative points if you drop some litter. Driving without a license, yeah. Driving through traffic lights, anything, dangerous driving. Xenon, okay, sorry. 1 million lost. That is a great dragon. Thank you for that. Spitting, yes, all of these things. Okay, this is It's absolutely crazy. Also, for not recycling properly. If you put your waste out, or you like have bins that are overflowing, you get a negative score. To get a positive score, because if you got a negative score, you might be, yeah, it's crazy. To get a positive score, you could do blood donations. So you might, if you're a bad driver, you've got to be giving a lot of blood away. You could you give money to charity, or you could volunteer. Okay, so this is going to absolutely blow your mind. There are 26, no, 5.9 million people in the country that are blacklisted. So that means that they cannot buy a plane ticket. They cannot buy train tickets. They can't move. They can't move around, basically. And it takes up to 5 years, 2 to 5 years, for you to clear away your negative points. You've got to wait for it to. You've got to wait for it to kind of wear off. Like you've got to sort of, a bit like being in prison. Like you're biding your time to be able to be treated like a normal person again. So they've also had 26 million flight tickets denied. So if you've got a slightly negative score, if you've done something recently, you can't buy a plane ticket. 9 million train tickets also on the high-speed rail network. It's crazy. It's crazy. So this just shows how authoritarian it is as a country. So when we look at this next bit, think about what kind of government China is, how this might affect the citizens of China, and yeah, this is just crazy. People are saying it's wild. Go past the speed limit, yeah, that gets you a negative point. Like, you do not want to be blacklisted, basically. Okay. Was I frozen? Has it gone back to normal now? Should I go back to OBS and see if it's okay? I think it's okay, right? Tell me if not. If not, Leo's on my case. Okay, what is rural to urban migration? Because this links to why people are invisible. Okay, we're gonna get into it now. We're gonna answer this question outright. Okay. She's still going for me. Yeah, cool. Okay, tech stuff. Rural to urban migration is now. China's urban population since the 1950s has risen exponentially. So if we look at how much it's risen by, it's gone from 50 million. Sorry, that's the rural population, isn't it? What am I talking about? Around 5 million, 500 million, sorry. Oh no, that's the rural. I was doing it the right one. Sorry, I'm like second guessing myself because I'm thinking about the tech and hoping that it's working, and that's distracting me. So 50 million people in 1950 increased over the course of, this is a projection obviously, so let's look at where would we be for that would be 2000, this is going to be around 2020, this is today. So it's risen today to just around 800 million, okay? So it's growing rapidly. Now, what do I mean by rural to urban migration? Does anyone know? Yeah, good. Angel, people moving from the countryside. Thank you. Moving from the countryside to cities, and the main reason for this, and apart from sort of maybe persecution, wanting to run away from your family if you've not, pleased them and you want to have your own life, this kind of thing, to cities to seek. So people are moving from to seek better opportunities. Okay, better now. It's these job opportunities. So this has been happening over the past 70 years at a crazy rate, and the government essentially got. I'm just going to read what they said. To urban, to towns and cities. Yeah, absolutely. So this is always for better job opportunities, okay? Does anyone know why people have moved so rapidly from rural areas? So here's our kind of rural areas around, I'll use a yellow colour. rural areas around the northwest of China, why have so many people moved into cities on the coast and these green areas as well? So these colours represent a certain but what kind of jobs? People are saying jobs, but what kind of jobs do we find in Shanghai, Guangdong, Henan, Hubei? Hubei was where the COVID outbreak started. Great opportunities. Yeah, international relations helps with this. Export of what? What kind of goods? People are saying, Lily, you're saying the right things. What kind of jobs is that? Angel's got it. Okay, great. Factory work. There are some tech jobs, but manufacturing jobs, and this is because of industrialization. So China has become an industrial economy in actually quite a short space of time. So they followed the same model as Russia during the Cold War and went for this kind of heavy industry model to try and create jobs, create production, and try to speed up the growth of their economy, okay, to help make them more competitive with the US, essentially. Okay. Yeah, Angel, well remembered from our superpowers live that we did, China becoming the new superpower. They are building their naval power as well, and this helps that they have a manufacturing economy, so they can actually build their own military equipment, right? Okay, now what the government did, because they were so worried about this rapid increase of people moving from the countryside to the cities for these manufacturing jobs, they weren't in control of this. Okay, there were so many people moving from really poor rural areas to cities. They created something called the Hukou System. I'm not going to be pronouncing that right, and I apologise to anyone who can pronounce that right, but I will learn. And I'll have to ask my cousin because she actually does speak Chinese. Shout out to my cousin Louise. Okay, so the Hukou system is essentially a social registration system where, a bit like if you did a census in the UK every 10 years, that you either had a rural Hukou passport or you had an urban Hukou passport, okay? And what this means is that you can't access outside of rural areas, rural states in China, so the rural states with the yellow circle around it, you cannot access education, healthcare. You cannot register for a working permit. Okay, so imagine these are essentially the invisible people, okay? They do not have an identity within these cities. Now, many of these people are actually are men. Why do you think so many men exist as this invisible population? Sorry, Anna Van Wolf, you gave a great answer earlier. Development moving away from agrarian societies and jobs. So they moved away from a purely farming economy to focus on really heavy industry. Why do you think so many men? This is partly because men, still in China, men get paid more than women, actually quite significantly more. So if they were to get a factory job and be paid cash in hand, they would get paid more. Okay, that's the yen. Okay. Good, thank you, 1 million sloths. You got that answer in the end. Okay, what impact do you think this is having on people? Yeah, they send remittances back. Yes, Anna Van Wolf, great geographical language you're getting out here. They're sending their remittances back to their families in the rural areas, okay? And men can do that more easily because they get paid more. So, what impact do you think this is having on people living in? Now, have a little look at this this actual population, the percentage of. So this is percentage of. So it was at 40%. The actual Chinese urban population was 40% of their of the total population of China has now risen to above 50, to so 55%. But actually, in terms of registration, the Hukou amount that actually physically registered to receive social services is only at about 37%, which is crazy. So there's a difference of 18%. 18% of people in urban areas are unregistered with the Hukou system, and I'll tell you the actual total of it in a second. It's bad. Right, what I've said that it's a social services. What kind of social services won't they be able to access? What issues is it going to create? What impact is it going to have on people? Right, healthcare, good. There are millions of people who, for decades, have not accessed any healthcare. Decades without healthcare. Food support, good. Being able to get a loan from the government, having a bank account. You need to be able to have a bank account. You need to have a Hukou passport. Okay, so you cannot get a loan. So if you were to lose your job, you suddenly became unemployed, you probably become destitute. There's a lot of people who become they do deal with homelessness quite quickly in China. That's one thing they're quite good at, but they put them in essentially kind of work camps, people who are found on the street. No pension, yeah, so you might just have to keep working regardless of how tired your body is, any illnesses you have. Education, right, the education one is absolutely mad. So there's millions of children in cities that have been homeschooled and have also never left their home. They are like the invisible children, okay? They have never left their home because they're so worried, and this is a bit like they had with the one-child policy as well. They are so worried that they will have their children taken away from them if they have any inkling of the fact that they have them there. So the Chinese authorities deal with it really, really strictly. Okay, really great contributions. Thank you, everyone. Now, this has led to a huge difference in the quality of life and the income of people living in rural areas and urban areas, because so many people move from rural areas to the cities to get manufacturing jobs. So the farming industry, the agricultural sector have really suffered as a result of this. Okay, young people moving away and not wanting to kind of keep their family businesses going. This was started. So let's just go back. Hang on a sec. I'll go. That's a little bit of a busy slide, isn't it? But just pause me and ask me questions if you've got any questions. But we are going to wrap up now. Okay. So huge difference. Disposable income means things that you spend. You have money you have to spend on non-essential items, not basic needs like housing. What would be a basic need? Housing, electricity, water bills, these kind of things. Okay, so the disposable income is huge, and that's why many people want to move to the cities as well. Okay, so food. Yeah, disposable income would be not including food meals. Yeah, so it might be food that's like luxury food, nice food, meat, for example. Okay, right. So let me give you some evidence for this to help you answer this question. Okay, there are estimated out of the 1.3 billion people in China, there are 253 million invisible citizens out of the 1.39 billion people. Okay, this has happened since 1958. So when they brought in this system, the Hukou system, in 1958, people have continued to move from rural areas with rural Hukou passports to urban areas. They still need to get this. They still want to seek this better life and be able to send remittances. Thank you, Anna. Great word. Back to their families in the rural areas. So what do you think? Can governments really control internal migration? Is it possible, like if you look at the evidence, even think of your own country, if anyone's got any examples from where they're watching from today, we might all be in the UK. It's crazy, Chloe. It really is crazy. It's so crazy. It's too hard. Why is it too hard? Like, what makes it too hard to control where people move within your country? And like, should they? I just think it's. I don't agree with any of the infringement on people's privacy that China's government uses, and I think that surveillance is really wrong. Angels in Switzerland, nothing like that. Yeah, nothing like that. Why is it so? Also, why do you think the Chinese government needs people to move from rural areas to the urban areas? Why would they need to do that? Why is it good that we have internal migration? I'll give you a clue. Yeah, you can't like police to enforce it. Why is internal migration good for a country? Yeah, workers, right? They just do, okay, interesting, Angel. I'm going to read this out in a second. So internal migration is good because it has the labour supply to cities is regular, right? And actually, this often is really cheap labour because if you have a Hukou passport and you're getting paid cash in hand, you're going to be really employed really cheaply, okay? Right. Money and absolutely, and money and opportunities. So giving people opportunities to seek better lives and to seek better jobs. Angel just said regions, as far as I'm aware. Where are you from, Anna? You can try and put people would always still find a way. They can move to better countries. Yes, Leo. So Angel said you said you're in Switzerland. They just do random checks once a month, but otherwise they trust you to buy tickets and don't monitor travel in any way. Yeah, okay. Oh, what, when you're travelling around on a train? Yeah, that's the same. Living in Bahrain. Oh, Anna, welcome. Bahrain also has a slightly different political system to the UK, but you're living there. Yeah, I hope you don't. Well, yeah, it's interesting. I find Bahrain very interesting. Okay, so thank you to 1 Million Sloths, Leo, Angel, Anna. Thank you for joining us. Anna, please join again. It's been really great to have you as a new user. Anna, if you can you fill in the feedback form on the AimHi website just to give us a bit more background about your age and like how much you're enjoying of this and all this kind of stuff. Thank you, Mears. Don't worry that you were late. I'll forgive you. Chloe, good morning and welcome, and thank you so much for being here. Who have I missed? I think that's everyone. Thank you for being on the chat. And yeah, it's been great. I hope I've blown your mind a bit. Remember the social credit system. Remember the invisible citizens because of the Hukou system. And thank you, lucky stars, that just because you skip a red light by accident, that you're not able to buy a train ticket for the next 5 years. So thanks so much for being here. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next week. Next week, I'm going to do a AimHi school on development geography. So that'll be based on kind of GCSE and A-level knowledge. So if you're interested, please join. Okay, I'll let you go. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.